let's jump into our costume analysis series, where this week we are going to be looking at the Fleischer Superman cartoon that was shown in Superman and Lois. This one is a fan favorite for many people, and for good reason. There is a Fleischer costume side by side with the version from Superman and Lois. Very true to the look from the animated shorts. The only thing that I can see really differently there is the way that the neckline and the cape kind of connect. But other than that, this was very faithful to the Fleischer Superman costume. So let's go through it bit by bit and give some analysis. Let's start with the cape, and just looking at the way that the cape, it's like the neckline is a bit obviously closer in than what, so a tighter neckline than what the Fleischer animated series had. But still, I like the way that it's tucked in underneath. I like the way that it fans out over the shoulders. Could have been a little bit of a wider neckline to kind of accentuate that a little bit, but this looks pretty good.
Yeah, the wider neckline's a tricky thing to do. I think Lois and Clark found that out when with their early experiments with the costume. I like the way it looks. I think it, it's not completely accurate, but it's close enough. It's got a good length to it, so I have no complaints about the cape.
Yeah, that it's got the right length. I like when it comes up to around the calves, just under the calves. I wish there was an S on the back of that, but no, I think it looks fine. It looks great, especially for one of his earlier capes.
Mm. And I don't think there was an S on the cape in the Fleischer animated series anyway,
No.
so it's
Maybe not.
kind of,
No, I guess not.
yeah, it's staying true to that, if that's what they were going through as part of their design. And then we look at the body of the costume. It is just that tight blue lycra material, and it doesn't seem to have any patterns or embossing in it. It's just straight blue tights.
Yeah, I mean, might have a little. I don't know if it's a muscle suit or not, or if that's just all Hecklin, which is entirely possible because the man is kind of cut. But no, and I'm surprised at the lightness of the blue.
Mhm.
We're so used to over the last couple of years live action Superman suits having like a real dark hue to them. The fact that this is more of a traditional Superman blue was surprising, but not unwelcome.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think when you see the scene when he comes down, it just gives you, it's more like, because it's early in his career, it's like one of the first things he did, so it gives you that more hopeful, hey, look at me, look at who I am, I'm the real good guy, which is true, and we're used to lighter colored suit because it's just been so dark lately. Even Superman and Lois, and that's one of my favorites. It's still a darker suit, so it was just nice to see this brighter looking suit.
Yeah, and then we've got the S Shield, which is obviously a replica of, as close to,
Mhm.
of the Fleischer animated series. You've got the red S, the black background, and the yellow border. So, I mean, it's not what we are familiar with as far as the modern day Superman S Shield, but considering it was mimicking the Fleischer costume, it's spot on. It's exactly what you're looking for.
Hmm I'm surprised that they went for a black background so early. But if you're going to do this costume, you do this costume, so you have to have it. But yeah, I like how close it is to the Fleischer S. Like they really they set out to do this costume, and they really nailed it from top to bottom.
Yeah,
I love it for being a homage to Fleischer. It looks as accurate, as possible. I do think, like Mike said, if this is his early years, I am surprised it has the black background. I mean, the Fleischer suit, obviously, I mean, it was still very early golden age, and they do want to do their own thing. So obviously, they want to do an homage to it. They're going to do the same thing, but
exactly.
I would still think in this time in his career, in Superman and Lois, it would be more of a yellow. background, but that doesn't.
Yeah, I think we keep thinking of the black background because we keep thinking of, like the era in the comic books where he was mourning those death of all those people and turned his shield background to black as a thing that he did later on in his career. But this is the Fleischer costume, so they're just doing the what they did in the Fleischer costume without any kind of reference to black being something of a mourning or a grief type of feel about it. Then we move on to the trunks, and it's the red trunks. It's got the same red belt as the Fleischer. The Fleischer, as you can see, he doesn't have a yellow belt, but it has a yellow belt buckle, which is an oval shape. And they've just kind of replicated exactly again the Fleischer Superman costume, kind of color for color.
Yeah, they're more bikini than the trunks from the Fleischer, but it still looks good.
I mean, look, they want to replicate that suit. They really replicated this suit. There's only very subtle differences to it, and the trunk. Obviously, I think they were going to make the trunk a little smaller, for maybe some obvious reasons. I don't know. But no, it's still very faithful. I mean, it's still got the right color of the belt and all of that, and it just looks really good.
Then we move to the boots, and we get a side-on looker here, and it's just a side-on. It's just a red boot kind of thing. The front here, we can see that it has that slight dip. Not as deep a dip as what the Fleischer does, but it has that rounded mold to it at the top rather than the straight line with a V. So it's, again, very faithful to the Fleischer animated series.
Yep. Yeah, nothing really to add there. It doesn't look as good from the side, but that's not how it's meant to be shot. So,
yeah,
there's a difference between the shot in the show and a set photo that got leaked. So.
Yeah, from the front, it really looks good. The side gives it a little more of a work boot kind of thing. But if you look, if you're looking at the pictures now, like side by side, it looks as close as you can get to those boots.
So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, this was a solid 9 out of 10 for me. I loved the homage to the Fleischer cartoons. I loved the look of this suit. It was simple. It was classic. There was no over embellishment of designs and lines and abs and things like that they try to put in later on. So I'm all in favor. This is a solid 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I'll give it the same thing. I remember when you showed this to me before the pilot had aired, and before you showed it right before we were doing an episode, and I remember yelling "cowards" because that's because they didn't go with that one to be like the official suit. But no, it just 9 out of 10. Just one of the best live action suits we've ever seen.
Same here. Not going to argue. 9 out of 10.
Excellent. We're all in agreement on this one, so that's really cool. So that's our costume analysis. A very simple, straightforward one for the Fleischer costume from Superman and Lois. We will continue on next week to do the Brandon Routh Kingdom Come style Superman costume from the CW crossover event, the Crisis event. So we will look at that one next week. But thank you, gentlemen, for this costume analysis.